How it convicts. But before we do that, let's have a little interlude here, if you will. And we'll start the podcast in just a few minutes after these messages.
In the dance, so getting we begin. Crowd up in the center, they watch for the rhythm. Watch the way we drop it in a mix time. Rise and amplifying when we come in with the swing. Time into position, we synchronize it. Let it come out to get to the maximize it. Some of the move on, on the line. One time lyrics, they must stick on your mouth. My MCs to go out to the top of the
And you already know it's Xtra-Hype Connection Friday night. Cool and talk. With your host Marcus and Full Focus. Brother Ed. And Brother Ray. In the building for you on a Friday.
Enter in the dance, plug it in and we begin. Crowd up in the center, they watch for the rhythm. Watch the way we drop it in a mix time. Rise and amplifying when we come in with the swing. Climb into position, synchronize it. Drive from out to get to it, maximize it. Some of the your mind sometimes.
I've always loved the brass instruments, the trumpets, the horns, the trombones, the tubas, the French horns. Powerful, and resonance energy through those instruments. I tell you, if you're feeling down, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling like you're crushed, you're not feeling your best, you turn on some of those instruments, you listen to that music, and guess what? It'll lift you right back up. So I'm glad that you're here with us. We're glad that you're here with us. It's the Xtra-Hype Connection podcast. You already know. On a Friday, we good to go. Thank you all for being patient. Your boy was just out and about, kind of lost the time a little bit, not on purpose, but we're here once again, and tonight we're here with another banger for you. And you know what? This is an extension of the land of make-believe. However, this ain't the land of make-believe. This is, now you ready for this one, all right? It ain't the land of make-believe, but it's a close cousin to it. This is the dominion of unaware. The dominion of unaware. These two kind of go hand in hand. The land of make-believe paints the picture for you that you are to believe. Well, because you walk through the land of make-believe and you turn the corner into the dominion of unaware. Make-believe and unaware. Now, ain't that a double whammy for you right there? But before we get started, we're doing a shout-out. Just quickly shout out some of our local businesses that support this podcast. Number one, I want to give a big shout-out to one of my favorites. We've got Carlos Restaurant here in Brick City, North New Jersey at 108 J. Best Street. Yes, indeed. Open 7 days a week. Yes, indeed. Got parking for you. You got a large dining room. And I tell you, they got some treats on that menu. You're going to want to go there and once you taste them, you're going to want to take back a couple of friends with you real soon. 108 J. Best Street, Carlos Restaurant. Tell them Walter sent you. Ask for Sylvia. Ask for Alex. Tell them, hey, Walter told me about this place. Heard about it on the podcast. They'll definitely give you a smile and make it worth your while. Also, we've got, yes, indeed, AJ Caribbean Teas, 150 Halsey Street, right behind the tall Prudential Life Insurance building, right here downtown Newark, New Jersey, between Bank and Academy. I'll tell you, the aroma and the title just captures it all. You'll never be able to go past that place without turning around and saying, whoa, what's that over there? Is that all? And walk right inside and you're captivated. I'm telling you, don't do it. But if you do, tell them you heard about it from this podcast right here. We also got Tia Moore Coffee Company. They're a staple right here in the city. They've been here for over a century on Broad Street, next to City Hall, and next to the Federal Building, between Franklin Street and Federal Square. Same side of the street, right there. Open the door, you got the aroma of freshly ground coffee. They've also got all kinds of healthy snacks for you. They've got all different kinds of dry foods. They've got nuts. They've got chocolate-covered pecans, dark chocolate-covered almonds, walnuts. They've also got an array of fresh, and I do mean fresh, organic peanut butters, cashew butters, almond butters, walnut butters, hazelnut butter. You ever heard of that? And jellies, jams, preserves, whatever you want to call them, apricot, peach. Boysenberry. Not poison, boysenberry. B-O-Y-S, boysenberry. All right. Grape. They've got pear. And they're all in glass jars with metal top lids. I tell you, you might want to go down there, check them out, and tell them, guess what? We heard about this place on this podcast. And last but not least, we've got Just Fish Bar and Grill at 27 Halsey Street. I was in there not so long ago, and I'll tell you, it's a good place to sit down and eat. Great atmosphere. Everything is nice in there. Wood is like, decadent, you know? Almost like the inside of a ship. And they have an area out back, a nice deck and a patio where you can sit out in the air and have a meal right there. Tell them, once again, you heard about them from this podcast we're getting around with the Xtra-Hype Connection. Just for you, just for everybody here, this is what we do. And before we get started, I just want to ask my co-host, well, not my co-host, he is the host, along with myself. We're both hosts on this particular podcast, that's right. So focus, would you? Just say hello to the listening audience before we get into it tonight. And I'll just give them a little bit of your. Yes, indeed. It is extra high. So, everybody, once again, welcome our returning listeners, our faithful listeners, and our new listeners as well. Thank you all for coming to the podcast. We definitely do appreciate you. Welcome you here. Please sit back, relax. You're in the virtual studio, the Boogie Down Brick City virtual studio. Pretty soon to expand the cities that will be announced as the virtual foundations for this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into it tonight, everybody, because this is what we do for you. It's a nice topic. You ever heard of manipulators? I'm quite sure you have. Ever heard of misdirection? I'm quite sure you have. You ever heard of behavior? Of course we have. And I'm quite sure you've heard the word conviction used in maybe different scenarios. Of course you have. Well, tonight, we're going to be talking about manipulative misdirection. Not just manipulation, not just misdirection, but boxcars. Right together, manipulative misdirection. A conviction of behavior. Let that sink in just for a moment. Just for a moment, let's let that sink in. Manipulative misdirection. Now, it's one thing for someone to be manipulated by someone or something other than themselves. That's one thing, because we do realize that manipulation may not necessarily be a good or a bad thing. It is just what it is. It is a tool that is used to accomplish certain ends and certain agendas, fuel certain types of motives. But then to add misdirection onto that, now that in and of itself is not good in most cases. I'm not going to say that it's evil, totally, and I'm not going to say that it's not evil. But I am going to say that depending on what the intention and the motive of the one or the system that is using it, well, then it has its definition there. But manipulative adjective, or actually it could be an adverb, but manipulative misdirection is like double talk with steroids. You know, when you say, who's on first? What's on second? I don't know, third base. Now, some of you have probably heard that skit before. Who's on first? First thing we think about is a question to be answered. Who's on first? I don't know. Third base. What are you talking about? Who's on first? That's what I'm trying to find out. Who's on first? What's on second? That's right. Who's on first? Yeah, exactly. And this quite a bit in our experience, in our environments, in our lives. And it's been going on for a very long time, even before we even got here, before we were even thought of for this particular experience on this plane with respect to this regeneration. I'm gonna leave that there. Leave that to your imagination for a moment. But manipulative misdirection. A manipulator who not only comes up, posts up, and begins to say things, sound really good, sound fantastic, sound amazing, and is motivational, maybe even at times inspirational. And it sounds so good, it tickles the ear that you can't just walk away from it. You want to know more and more and more. And you're fed just a little bit more, not a whole lot, because they don't want to fill you up, but they want to give you enough to keep you right there. A little bit at a time, and when you begin to drift or you begin to fade away, they give you something else that pulls you right back towards their conversation. But not only do they have the conversation, which is of a manipulator, it's manipulative. But just imagine that after all of this rhetoric that they spew out that is ingested like a sponge by the person who's paying close attention to it, they ain't just listening, they're dialed in. Oh, they're paying attention. They don't want to miss a beat. Then here comes the misdirection. Because once they have you in their clutches, so to speak, now you're like clay in their hands. They can mold you. They can shape you. You've given them your attention. If you've given them 5 minutes of your time, you're dialed into them. they pretty much got you as a captive audience. Now, I'm going to ask a question, and you can answer this if you want to, but can you think of a type of person in any kind of profession you want to name that may be good at manipulating, a manipulative conversation, and misdirection? Can you think of anyone in the profession who may be very crafty when it comes to this? We're going somewhere with this, so I just want to leave it right there.
Xtra-Hype.
Xtra-Hype.
A conventional doctor or minister on Sunday?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And let me ask you, what made you, or what prompted you to give those two examples? I'm just asking. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but.
Oh, I'm an answer. The truth is the light, and I like cowboy pictures, and the Cowboys don't come out and handle their business until the sun is at its apex, and that's noonday. The Canaanites have a saying in reference to that too. May your countenance shine like the sun at noonday. So, when I was a teenager, I had to go to church. My father could stay home and watch sports or car shows, whatever he chose to do. So, one given Sunday, Rev was speaking on what John the Baptist said. So, I knew some Arabs and some people from the Middle East. And I asked them about locusts. And they said, oh, you like chocolate? I said, no, the bugs. Do y'all eat locusts? Because that's what I was asking. Because, from what the Bible says, the Middle East and all those places is where Jesus was so-called doing the thing. He said, no, locust is chocolate. And I knew some people who were studying the Essenes gospel, and they said the Essenes made their soups and bread from locust pods. So it's a pod that grows on trees. So I told my mother I wanted to ask Rev about it because that's what he was preaching about. Imagine eating a bug and honey all your days. So she told me I couldn't say to him. And as I yearned and learned and grew older, I found out a lot of things about some of these ministers. And of course, it's not all ministers, all people aren't alike. But as far as doctors always strive to prescribe prescriptions. And they'll tell you, you might not put the prescription in, but I'm just going to write it just in case. Oh, this is going to ease the pain. Conventional medicine don't cure nothing. That's my answer,
All right.
You tend to believe these individuals and not do no research on your own. Therefore, you get what you get. But they're good at manipulation. They're wordsmiths, for sure. And are you?
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. I want to get some more examples from our listeners. So I'm going to ask you all to do me a favor. Whether you're a returning listener, whether you're a new listener, or whether you are a host that has a show on this network, or even if you're a host on another show network, I would like for you to chime in and give an answer or a statement to this. Can you name a profession that is very crafty and cunning when it comes to manipulation and misdirection? Star 6 to unmute your phone if you want to speak. Star 6 to unmute your phone.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Marcus. Good everyone. Good evening to everyone on the line. I'm going to answer your question real quick. The first thing that came into my mind would be a lawyer or an investigator, especially a lawyer. That's what they do. They have to get whoever they're trying to convict them or whatever the case is. They have to be manipulative, and they redirect. Their questions are geared to redirect that person into what they want them to say. An investigator will do the same thing. We see too many TV shows about that. That's their job. That's their skill. That's what they're trained to do. So that's my answer.
Well, thank you, my dear. Do appreciate you coming in and letting us hear that lovely voice of yours.
Well,
I tell you, it's so unique. There's nothing else like it that I've heard.
Well, I thank you kindly, but I'm going to let somebody else answer. But thank you. I'm still listening, but I'm going to, whatever you guys say, I'm going to leave myself back out. But thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. My pleasure. Anyone, please, not anyone else. Who else? Who's next? Come on.
This is Ray Green. I would propose an example to be a politician, a salesman, even people that are salesmen that don't know that they're salesmen, like pastors, for instance, of churches.
Mm-hmm.
Politicians, first, they'll tell you that they're going to lower taxes. And, well, when they get in office, they keep their word. They just lower taxes on industrial properties because their wife, like Tom Wolfe's wife, owns most of the industrial properties in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So property taxes were lowered. He just wasn't specific about which property taxes were lowered.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Types of manipulation out of salesmen. It's a good car. Okay, do you have a Carfax on it? Well, no, but we've got it on good faith that the previous owner kept up on all of the maintenance. But you have no proof of all of the maintenance. Okay. How can I be assured that it's a good car when I roll it off your lot, it won't break apart? I can't be. Next example, was it pastors? Yeah. Okay, so a lot of them pander to offering collection plates, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you that your healing is in that offering plate. All you got to do is give X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I yield.
All right. Good examples. Who's next? We can go for a little bit with this. We're going somewhere. Who's next? Give an example of a profession that is very cunning or crafty or both when it comes to manipulation and misdirection. We can really go around the spectrum with this one, all the way around the pinwheel. So who's next? Step on up. Let's see you.
I'm going to try. This is Joffrey. Police.
All right.
Policing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why any and everyone needs to know whatever you say can and will be used against you. And then when they continue to ask questions, you don't answer the questions. Because even the truth, they're letting you know even the truth will be manipulated to be used against you in court. And I yield.
Yes, indeed. Excellent example in practical, in practice on a daily basis. Yes. Except weekends and holidays. But yes, yes, indeed. Who's next? Step right up. We want to hear your
Good
voice.
evening,
We want you
every
to.
one of you. How are y'all doing this evening? This is
We want to
Lady
hear your
Abby
voice. We want
Hanson.
you to.
Everyone, the music profession, the music when you're a new artist and so on and so forth, and you're so hungry to be out there in the spotlight. You have someone coming through says, "Oh, I can do this, that, and the third for you," and come to find out they just want to take what you've got and run with it, and you don't get anything. You get that.
Wow. Now that is a field where that has been plaguing artists, I mean, for decades. And yes, very, very true and close to home with that one. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that.
Can somebody sitting in the pew say amen to that one?
Hallelujah.
Amen,
Hallelujah.
and amen again, Mr. Eddie.
Hallelujah. Yes.
Hallelujah. Yes, yes. Okay,
Good
who's
merchants,
next?
everyone. Thank you.
Good merchants, yes, indeed. Good merchants. Who's next? Want to put it out there? We want to give everybody the opportunity. Let your voice be heard, okay? Just want to hear your voice.
Somebody,
Give us a... Yes, you got it.
sometimes when people want to just take you to bed, will tell you all kind of lies.
Okay. Well, that could be a profession, I guess, you know. They used to call the men gigolos back in the day. I don't know what they call them now. Yeah, they used to call them slick willies, you know, silver tongue, you know, get the jab, you know. Even some of the women, you know, get up in there and get these guys, you know, all messed up after they, you know, let them get some of the cookies and men talking to their wives, never coming home no more. This woman's gone.
It works both ways.
And works both ways. It's like that door swings both ways on that one, my dear. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that example. Anyone else? No, not. I'm not going to say that.
Basically, in general business, when you're a new person hired on and, you know, you sign that dotted line, you may think you're going in for one thing. Next thing you know, you're going for it. You know, you're being manipulated to do something else. This isn't what I signed up for. You signed the dotted line. This is what you signed up for. So a lot of times you go in with your eyes open, but you're blinded at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Eyes wide shut.
Correct.
Yes.
This is Ray Green. I've got another example.
Mm-hmm.
Trucking company dispatchers. They lied not only to truck drivers, but they lie to everybody else too. As long as they, oh yeah, I guess I should play some recordings of the dispatchers here at Kentucky Container and their abilities to lie, and it'll be quite entertaining. Some of the lies that they tell. And one of the good ubiquitous ones is all the other drivers. Well, more than all of the time, greater than all the time, I say 250% of the time, I wish all those other drivers were here. That way we would be having this conversation. When that personification of I should do it because they did it notion that's trying to be professed forward is presented to me because, well, those people don't pay my bills. However, the federal government promised to do certain things to me if I behaved in certain ways. They promised. Actually, more to the point, they promised so bad that they want to show me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say logistics dispatchers. Their profession. And I yield.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Anyone else want to give an example? Who else wants to give an example?
Well, I'm sorry.
No, after you, please.
Yes, I'm going to sidestep the last comment, but our insurrectionist in chief every day lying and manipulating president. A few things. I'm sorry.
Well, continue.
A few things went under the radar last year. When he signed an executive order banning the military from providing razor bump treatment for some black soldiers. For most black soldiers, actually, that suffer from it. They not only put restrictions on the treatment, they had a condition where they can be thrown out of the military because of that. They give them a certain amount of time to, claim absence of medical benefits, and then later on, they can be, thrown out of the military. Executive orders on women in the military, executive orders on women's rights, and all the other stuff, even voting, stuff that he has been doing basically on a daily basis. And I do not have Trump derangement syndrome, and I will yield on that.
Okay. We're still going.
Because of Mr. Green, can I add another? Recruiters. In trucking, you're told that we will get you home. If you have to get home, we'll get you home. We will do that. We're family oriented. And if you find we're not, there's an open door policy that you can go and you can talk to whomever. But also military recruiters. They talk to our young people and tell them all the good things about joining the military, knowing full well once the hand is raised and that oath is taken and you become GI, government issue, all that stuff that the recruiter said is BS. I yield.
Okay. All right.
This is Ray Green again. I have a comment. Most of the trucking company recruiters, they didn't like me very much because I got this nasty habit within me of, when you expect professionalism out of me, I in kind expect professionalism out of you. And if you tell me that I can do something, that's it. And when the time of fruition comes about, I will hold your feet not to the fire, but to the gold-colored coals on it. And most of these individuals in this industry don't like me because of that. And I yield.
Okay. All right. Now, before we move on, I want to give everybody a fair shake now. If you want to give some more examples, or if you haven't spoken yet and you would like to give an example of a profession that's very crafty and cunning when it comes to manipulation and misdirection, okay? You still got a couple of minutes before we move forward. So you want to chime in, you want to speak, you want to add something to this buffet, then please, this is your time. New listeners, returning listeners, podcasters, and other podcasters from other networks. You got it. You got it. You want it? Here it is. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually give some of my own thoughts on some professions that are very crafty and cunning when it comes to manipulation and misdirection. Now, who forms the minds of children? Teachers. Teachers. Very cunning and very crafty when it comes to manipulating the thoughts and misdirecting the focal points. Now, many of us may or may not feel this way, but have you noticed how the textbooks change about every 15 years? Ever so slightly in some parts, and then some parts are just taken totally out. They're not even there anymore, but we learned them. But if we were to talk to somebody about the textbook that we recognize with the same title now, they wouldn't know what we're talking about. Because what we're talking about ain't in there, but we recognize the publication, we recognize the title of the book that this person has, that they're studying, that we also studied. And when we sit down and say, hey, in chapter 4, I believe it was around page 7, yeah, that was all about this. And they tell you in chapter 4, page 7 is about this. And the educators, are they not the ones who put the textbooks together so that other educators can lecture and teach on what is written in these books? Another profession that can be very crafty and cunning when it comes to manipulation and misdirection. Authors. No offense, because I'm one myself. Okay? I do like to write a good short story or something, a little bit longer every now and then. And it's not my intent to maliciously manipulate and misdirect, because I want people's imaginations to expand. But there are some authors who will author certain rhetoric and or propaganda that will do what? Cause a stir, cause confusion, panic, nervousness, tension, trauma, stress, violence. Think about it. Also, another profession, very cunning and crafty when it comes to manipulation and misdirection, illusionists, magicians. Do you know that when you walk down the street, especially in, let's say, the boroughs, New York City, maybe Manhattan somewhere, or any of the other boroughs, and you see these games of chance going on, 3-card Montes, shell games, all of these other little games going on with the cats and the little rubber ball underneath. Realize that these are all illusionists and magicians. When they flip those cards and you're following that card and you say, I know that that's the card. It's right there. I've been watching it this whole time. It's right there. And you put $100 down because you are sure, you certain that that card is right where you said it was at. You watched it. You say, here, I got a bill. It's right there, and I know it's right there. They say, all right, turn it over. You turn it over, boom, you bust. How about the card dealers at the casinos? Aren't they magicians as well? In this house of pleasure, where everything is a chance. Oh, yeah, there's a chance. Isn't it ironic how people leave out with so much heartache and pain? In the house of pleasure. People have become so misguided and so misdirected by the manipulation that you just might win if you stay a little longer. Everything's going to turn and it's going to go your way. They go get the deed to the house, to the other properties, to the cars, the insurance policies, the jewelry. People have done it, and they do it still. I gotta win my. Hey, look, I want to take a loan against all of this. Okay. They check it out, make sure it's legit. Sure. You can pay. You can go ahead and use this as collateral as a for a loan of this amount. Sure. Never get it back. Never get it back. Why?
I have to interject. Casinos tell you what the first rule is upon coming into their establishment. The house always wins. And many people forget that. They don't build monoliths like Caesar's Palace or the MGM Grand or the Bellagio in a desert. Nothing else is around out there in Nevada. It's just dirt and hot. The house always wins. And
the house always wins. However, because of the attractiveness of whatever is being presented, our attention is not given to the caveats that are placed before us or that are spoken to us. Because we're glamorized, we're mesmerized, even some may even say hypnotized to something that is intentionally grabbing our gaze. And it can be anything. We just gave some fantastic examples, but it's every single day. Like we said, when we go to the job, when we're there, manipulation, misdirection. Yeah, this person didn't get reprimanded or didn't get disciplined for taking an extra 45 minutes, an extra hour on their break. No. But it's supposed to be a standing rule for everybody. But no, they didn't. But you took an extra 10 minutes only because you were looking for a place to park after you came back from where you went to go eat. And now all of a sudden you get write-ups and you get reprimands and, threatening to dock your pay and cut your hours and all this other stuff. They're trying to pretty much humiliate you, make you feel small in front of your coworkers so that everybody sees, you don't do this or this will happen to you. But it was supposed to be fair and even for all. And everybody was supposed to be subject to the same thing. But we find out that's not the case because motives and intentions do matter. There are always motives and there are always intentions that we are not privy to, not because we don't know, but maybe because we glossed it over and we went over things too quickly. And we didn't stop for a minute and retrace, backtrack, What are we missing here? What is it that I need to hear again? What am I not sure about? I think I heard that, but hey, let me hear that again. What are you talking about? You said something about this, that, and this and that. Let me hear that again. Let me hear what you said regarding that again. You just want to confirm, you want to verify. But these are the things that lead us down the primrose path of manipulative misdirection. Now, not only does it misdirect, not only are people manipulated, but now, once we're in that particular scenario and we become accustomed to hearing the rhetoric and responding to it, the propaganda, the lies, the untruths, the half-telling stories, the spin doctors, all of this stuff going around and around. Once we become accustomed to it, once we nestle into it, guess what? We take on a new behavior. The behavior is, now not all of us, but we can be subject to taking on a new behavior, one that says, hey, I need to go along to get along. Doesn't matter right, wrong, or indifferent. If my supervisor tells me I have to do a certain number of packages before my shift is over, and if I go for a bathroom break and I don't get to finish the amount of packages that I needed to finish, then it might just jeopardize my job. My hours may get cut. I may get cut loose. But not because I wanted to go use the bathroom, but because I didn't finish the amount of work that they wanted me to finish before my shift. And then what does that convict us of in our behavior? Well, if I leave this post and I go take a bathroom break, that's going to be 5 minutes to walk to the bathroom, 5 or 10 minutes in the bathroom, another 5 minutes to walk back out. I might not have this job, and I really need this job. Well, maybe I'll just stay here and try to last until the end of the shift, until the break comes up, and then I can go. But right now, I got to go, but I got to do this work, so I think I better just try to tough it out. We begin to sell ourselves short. We can do that. We begin to take on a conduct and a behavior that's not our own. Why? Because what has been put out to us over and over again that we're hearing and accepting is now something that we've adopted, that now we say, I can't go against that. It convicts us if we know that we are going to do the right thing. Something that requires us to, number one, have respect for our own selves. Number two, to hold ourselves in higher esteem than what somebody else's lowly opinion of us is. And number three, has us elevate somebody else in our mind to a higher plateau than we could ever be. Therefore, what do? We become comfortable in being convicted about our high esteem of ourselves, about the dignity that we require and that we expect to receive, just like anybody else would expect to receive. What makes this other individual or thing higher than us, more important than us, to stand above us and dictate as if, hey, this is what this is. You will abide by this contract because this is what you signed. So you're in this now for the long haul. No. See, that's a bunch of BS because you didn't explain that when we had this conversation. Case in point, Calvin sold his barbershop to Lester Wallace. And Lester Wallace told him, the barbershop ain't a cash cow, so I'm going to turn it into a gentleman's club. And he said, that ain't what we discussed. He said, oh, it's going to still say barbershop, but it's just going to take on a different light. And then when he went to go get the shop back, less than 24 hours, because he wasn't aware that he was right within the time frame to go and cancel the whole deal. He didn't know that. He said, listen, man, I can't sell you my shop, man. Lester said, with regard to the money I gave you this morning, that's yours. The shop is mine. However, here it goes. The manipulation and the misdirection, I'd be willing to call off the whole deal if you give me my money by 7 o'clock at night. So, hey, I'll do even better. I'll give it to you right now. Here it is. Said, 40. But Lester only gave him 20. What did Lester do? Lester manipulated him to be able to get the shop, to give it and give over the shop to him, and then he misdirected him when he came back to call up the whole deal because he realized that it was a bum deal. He got taken. He got played. Nah, man, you're going to give me my shop. Nah, man, you're going to pay me. This is my shop now. No, it wasn't. But he misdirected. And what did Calvin do? Calvin kind of said, well, look, man, I ain't going to do this in here. And he didn't stand firm because he thought that Lester knew more than him. Why? Because of the gift of gab, the silver tongue, all of these things that Lester was putting out to manipulate and misdirect this young man so that he could get his behavior to match up with his conscience conflicting or convicting him about going against what Lester told him. Just when boxers were at the height of their careers and their heyday, there was a certain promoter who took notice to these boxers. And whoever he could get, he would get. And some of them, he spoke so good, he spoke so eloquently and painted pictures of success and, being at the top. Nobody able to touch him and get to him because they were best. And he had these guys signing contracts that had no wording in them at all. Because he manipulated their minds and then he misdirected them to believe that even with regard to himself, he's still a servant unto them. So just trust your servant. Put your name down there on that piece of paper. There's going to be some words on there later, but what we're talking about now, that's what's going to be on there. So trust me, I got you covered. From the land of make-believe, making the left turn, into the dominion of unaware. The dominion of unaware. The land of make-believe forged the ideas, forged the belief systems, the rationalizations, the things that became traditional and customary. The land of make-believe did all of that. And then as we walk through that land of make-believe, believing that we knew something when we really were just told what spin doctors wanted us to know, and we really knew nothing at all, we made that left turn and then tried to use what we thought we knew in the dominion of unawareness and found out what? It didn't work. Because guess what? Now you got to go back and get more education, more rhetoric, more misdirection. And the manipulation was automatic. because the behavior was, well, you got to get educated. You got to go here. You got to learn this stuff. You got to read this stuff, study it, cram it in your brain. This is the only thing that matters. You get this, you get the world. You get all the riches, all the kingdoms. It's all yours. Just put yourself on your knees and give yourself to it. Even right now with the fascinations and the machinations that are going on in our everyday experience, from what we see, what we hear, what we know, and the conversations that are had, what are we doing? Practicing the very same thing that has been given to us, manipulative misdirection. What are we doing? Parroting the same conversations, the same belief systems, the same structural foundations that have cracks and fissures all in them. While there are those telling us it's safe to go ahead and build on that. Go ahead, put it there. It's going to hold. Yeah, all right. Sure it is. But we got to understand this one thing. We've been told a lot of stuff, but then there are those of us who've been told and come out and say, wait a minute. That's a lie. That's a lie. Listen, you might not want to do that. You might not want to go and give your energy to that over there. You might not want to engage with that. It's going to suck you dry. It's going to aggravate you. It's going to depress you. It's going to make you afraid, frightened, scared, timid, nervous, anxious, stressed out. Don't engage with that. You might not want to do that. And it seems the more that we hear the warning not to, the more we want to investigate and figure out why we should. It's like the child goes by that stove, and you block them, and you say, no. This is hot. Do not. No. That child will not learn, seemingly. So it goes by the stove, and it feels what hot feels like. And the pain, blistering, tears come down, and then there's anxiety, there's trauma. It's all there. It's embedded then. Same thing happens to us over and over again if we give ourselves to these things. If we continue in this land of make-believe, making the left or the right turn to the dominion of unaware, carrying what we were given by someone else who really didn't care. Their intention and their motivation is for their agenda to be completed, come to fruition. It doesn't matter to them about your belief systems or our superstition. It don't matter. We can entertain that stuff all day long as the work gets done. And once it's completed and we're spent, then they're gone. Understand this. The conviction of our behavior rests on things that are embedded in us. Whether we're at work, needing to go to the men's room or the ladies' room, during that dance when we really got to go, or whether we're sitting in a pew on Sunday and we have someone saying that we have a building fund going on, and this building fund has been stuck at this amount for the last 3 years, and we know we've put in collections for the building fund, but we don't see any growth. But we're in a place where we know where we're supposed to give, share. At work, we're supposed to be productive. We're supposed to engage, be loyal. In our educational places, we're supposed to do what? We're supposed to listen. We're supposed to ask questions only about the information that comes out, but are we supposed to take it to another level and bring it from another side and say, hey, is it a possibility that that could be that way instead of the way you just explained it? Case in point, just when I learned how to do multiplication from right to left, along with doing it from left to right. But why weren't we taught to do it from left to right? Why were we only taught to do it from right to left? It instills in people a way of thinking, processing, and activity. It's an order of sorts that gets people conditioned to do things in a way that may not feel natural but is acceptable over time. And then, at the end all be all of it, even when we begin to see that things are not what they should be, it's easy for us then to make excuses for it. Well, this is just the way it is. No, this is the way that it was taught and we accept it, but this ain't the way it is. This ain't the only game in town. What is our conversation about everything, all the manipulators, all the misdirection going on? What is our conversation? Is it to go along to get along? Is it to not rock the boat? Is it to not make any waves? Is it to not cry out in just sheer disgust when we know that what we eat, what we drink, and what we breathe is being contaminated with impunity, with rules that are made up to actually supposedly keep people in line, are doing more than just that, are harming people more than helping them with the situations? When the treatments that we receive for ailments that we suffer with only give a modicum of relief, but later on give so many side effects that we have to have this pill, this liquid, that shot, this inhaler in order to alleviate the symptoms, and then they bring on more. But have we become so used to this that even though we know that this is detrimental and it has to change and it should begin with us as individuals, is our fear of being different stopping us from giving ourselves the respect and the dignity that we know is ours and that we deserve to have? Do we knuckle under for the boss, for the company, for the accolades, for the pats on the back, for the treats called 50-cent raises, and then go back to our homes and to our communities and raise hell with the very same people that are in the struggle with us, that are right there alongside of us, that we tend to seem to think that they're a whipping pole for us to take out our frustrations on. Is that what we've come to accept, to rationalize? Is our behavior so convicted by what has been put in front of us that we just are full off of it and we just push the dignity, the respect to the side and go along and get along? Don't make no waves. Let those who are supposed to be, quote unquote, upholding the rule of law break it right in front of our face and dare us to do something about it. People giving us rhetoric spews about what they're going to do for us, how they're going to make change we can believe in. And we vote them in, and I'm not saying don't, but sometimes shouldn't we kind of not let them know? I mean, when we came up, ladies, wasn't it a customary tradition, even if you liked the guy, you didn't let him know? Even if you were head over heels for him and you really wanted to spend time with him and go out and have lunch with him or whatever, wasn't it your prerogative to say, no, I'm going to see how much he really likes me. And if he wants me, he'll come for me. But do we take that and apply that to this land of make-believe and to the dominion of unaware, which catches us off guard because our gaze is somewhere else? All of the highfalutin rhetoric, all the rumors, all the fantastic stories, everything, the distractions in front of us to keep us entertained while things are going on behind the scenes, and not even behind the scenes, right in front of us, that we're not catching. Why? Because we've been misdirected, and not the fact that we've been totally misdirected, like we didn't know. We knew, we were told. But we dialed in on something. And then it became a conversation between two. And then those two had a conversation with two, and so on, and so on, and so on. To the point where it created a monster where most people were worried. Some were anxious. Some were traumatized. And others just backed up against the wall and were petrified because this thing looked bigger and badder than anything that they could ever imagine, only because they gave themselves to it, because they paid attention to the manipulators who were misdirecting them, instilling core beliefs in them that convicted the behavior that they had, was told them, you know better than this. But knowing better didn't mean we did better. It just simply meant that we knew better. But we overrode that. And we got into the fray of things somehow, somewhere. This is what we have going on, and it's not popular to talk about, but it's real. I'm going to go one further for you. We're all having a time with the struggle. We see it in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods, in our own backyards. But I guarantee you, you go somewhere across town to another part of town, everybody over there is not living a life of Raleigh. They ain't got smiles and laughter going on 24/7. Like, oh yeah, we made it. No, you know why? Because they're here. They're not a part of the big club, the big party. The one that George Carlin said, you're not invited to. Oh yeah, it's a big old party. And you ain't on the guest list. Democrats, Republicans are like two wings on a 747 jet. One on one side, one on the other. You take one off, what happens? The whole thing goes down. That's why they're still around. Because to be without one is to be without the whole thing. The independent party is a part of that system. It's right down the middle. It's the body. It's the option and the alternative when the Dems and the Republicans can't seem to get it together. They're the ones that run interference. The independents run interference to give one side or the other side more credibility. You ever heard of a fall guy? You ever heard of taking a dive, saving points, missing scores on purpose? It's all set up. It's all set up. From the start to the finish, from the cradle to the grave, it's all set up. All of it. And if we continue to go along with it, then at the end, when we come to the final curtain, and we look back, 2020 hindsight, and realize that the authority and power was always ours, but we never used it. And the ones whose motives and intentions were performed are over there laughing. Because we never questioned, we never demanded an explanation. We never stood in the face of those who said, you have to, and said, prove it. Prove that I have to. And if I don't, what you gonna do about it? We played their game. We played in their backyards, sat in their sandboxes, made mud pies, cut them and served them on plates to people who didn't know the difference. All the while, this whole menagerie was set up around us to do what? To continue to sap our strength, our energy, our thoughts, to put doubt, fear, and uncertainty within us. Oh, if I don't get this money, if I don't get this job, if I don't do this, oh man, this is what's going to happen to me. And it is as we say. That is exactly what's going to happen to us. There is something known here that most of us don't know. And we don't know because we've seen it maybe once or twice at times, but never really understood what it was or even stopped to gaze at it to say, what is that? Why is that there? What is that? Somebody came along and said, oh, no, you don't need to see that. Come on over here. We got some good stuff over here for you. Recognize the game, everybody. Recognize the game. The games that are being played. People are being played every day, all the time. We have opportunities to elevate ourselves all over the place, but we have so much doubt, insecurity, and fear that we just say, no, I don't think so. I'll just stay with what I got. No. I don't want to break away from the shackles of being stuck in a struggle. I just want to struggle. I don't want to thrive. I don't want to be free from trauma and unbelief and uncertainty and poverty and lack. I don't want to leave those things because I know those things. And I'm used to those things, even though I don't like them. Conviction of our behavior. What behavior? What we know better than that. But no, the conviction, no, I can't. I won't. I don't want it. Case in point, the first time that I ever saw anybody run away from somebody trying to give them money, literally run, was with Ice Cube. He's being chased at barbershop by the big dude talking about, take this money. He said, no, I don't want it. What? But how many times we got the opportunity to right the wrongs, to steer the ship straight, to set the rudder in the course where it's going to go, and we're not going to hit up on any rocks or anything like that. And we said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want it. I think, my friends, we should pay attention to some things. Really begin to pay attention to some things. And understand the conversations that we're having with each other and with ourselves that are actually convincing us to behave in a way that is counterproductive to our own progressive success. We did never need anybody to represent and take our interest on their backs. We did not need that. We are the ones that put out there what it is that should be. But when we have manipulative misdirection that we're paying attention to, and we adopt what is being handed to us and we hold it, we carry it, we can't carry our own stuff. We have to put our own stuff down and carry that stuff. And then guess what? We're all mixed up. So here's one exercise that I want to kind of give everybody to do. You can do it if you want to, or you don't have to. But here's one exercise that might serve us well. Whenever you get ready to say something that involves your outcome, make sure that it is something positive. Oh, I think I'm going to have a bad day today. No, I'm going to have a day. Whatever comes, I'm going to handle it. Change it just like that. Try it. Just try it. And in a week, see what difference there may be. Let's see what some of the results are. Let's see if we even feel a little bit better, a little more confident, a little bit stronger than we felt in the past. A little less weighted down and a little less bogged down. Maybe a little bit more energetic. And a little bit more invincible. So, this is the land of make-believe, around the corner in the dominion of unaware. Manipulative misdirection in so many different professions that cause us to convict our own behaviors that were already within us. So, let's see if we can make a small dent, a small change. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be dramatic, doesn't have to be enormous and gigantic. Just a small change for our own edification to actually elate and excite us. And let that be something that can spread to two, and then those two to two, and so on, and so on, and so on. Let's see the change that we want to see. But it has to come from us. Has to. And with that, my friends, I am going to do a time check here to make sure that we're not running over. Now, I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate that time check. And I want to thank you all for chiming in and listening intently to this. It's not about doom and gloom, but sometimes we need to give as much attention to things right here on this network, on other networks where information is coming out to challenge us as we do in our daily lives, the things that we give attention to habitually. I call it taking a break from the world. Right here. Sometimes we need to dial in, just like this. And I'm not offended if nobody speaks, because what that tells me is that your intensity level has just raised up. You're here. You're intently listening. Because maybe, just maybe, it's causing some things to shift just a little bit, a degree, a half a degree. That paradigm is turning just a little bit. Just like the rudder of a ship. The smallest piece of the ship. In what we would think it would be the most insignificant place, which is at the bottom, in the rear of the ship, steers that giant vessel. Without that rudder, that thing ain't going nowhere. It ain't going no direction, right, left, no, it ain't making no U-E's, no, it ain't doing none of that. That small piece is the most important piece of that whole vessel because it controls its direction. Just that little thing compared to the rest of it controls everything about where that vessel goes. It has that much command. And these little conversations that we have here, where we dial in, are just like that rudder on that ship. They are what steer us, these vessels that we're in, towards something that is empowering. Because you got it. You may not think so. And if ain't nobody ever told you, I'm going to tell you right now. You got it.
Got it. What? Yeah, what?
And at this point, questions, comments? Questions or comments? We are open for business. All right. Well, if no one has a question or any other ending comments or words, that's not bad. Because what it tells me is that you may be deep in thought. Some things may have come up that maybe didn't come up in a regular day or on weeks or a month, but maybe now it's something that has risen up, and maybe it's right there in the front of your mind. And that's okay.
Oh, great show, Marcus.
Hello, my dear. It's good to hear your voice. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, my dear. Thank you for asking. And I'm glad to hear you. You sound jovial. You sound a little bit lighthearted, and it's good to hear you that way.
Yes, I was listening the whole time. Great show, I must say.
Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah, Mr. Joffrey had a good point on the cops.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was agreeing. I was totally agreeing. I was agreeing to what all was being said. I was just listening.
Right.
Yes.
Well, thank you, my dear, for listening in and lending us your ear. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you, because it's all about us. It is. We're spokes in this wheel. Yes, we are. From the center to the outer wall, we're the strength of what we are.
What we are.
So I thank everybody. I thank all of you. I thank everybody. We got nothing but love for all of you. And like Soul Focus always says, yeah, we only do this because we love you. We really do love you. That's why we do this. It's not easy having these hard conversations sometimes, but sometimes we have to. It's necessary because times will, and this is not a prophecy of doom, but it's just a reality. It's practical reality. Things always seem to get harder, and they seem to get worse before they get a little bit lighter and a little bit better. So here's the thing. Even if it gets hard, even if it gets a little worse, more daunting, I think we might be fearful. That's true. We might be anxious. We might be stressed. But let's do the best that we can to keep it under control and to continue to move forward anyway.
We're resilient. We'll make out.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Joyce, because, I'm standing right next to you. Shoulder to shoulder. I'm going to be right next to you. Yes, indeed.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Be happy.
Everything's going to be all right.
Everything's going to be all right.
Yes.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
No matter
That's right.
what.
Everything is all right.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Keep it moving.
So keep it moving and let nothing throw you off. Let nothing throw you off. And if it does, hey, just bounce into me. I'm next to you. You ain't gonna knock me over. I'll help you get back up and gain your footing. Don't worry about it. It's cool.
That's it.
We good. We good. Now, I want to thank everybody once again who showed up for our August 8th Disease Prevention Convention and Health Forum. It was good meeting a lot of you that I had never met before. And we had some good vendors there. We had great speakers. We had excellent speakers there. And it was to me, it was a much needed event with a lot of information and a lot of things that were good for us and good to us. And I hope that we can all look forward to some more upcoming events, similar to that, and have greater and better experiences and maybe even meet up at those events. So let's keep that conversation in the front of our minds as well. Even with organizations like You Can Change, Eyes with the New Vision, Visionary Trailblazers, Sci-Pop, and others, ProLogicStrategies.com, Networking for Success. Let's continue to have our conversations revolve around these and many others like these. Why? Because these are the building blocks for elevation and moving forward.
Yeah.
We got it. We got it. So let's engage with it. And let's keep the conversation moving to 2, then to 2 more, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now, at this time, to my podcasters, I want to give you the opportunity to shout out podcast time so that our listeners can support you. So podcasters, if you're on here and you want to shout out your show, please feel free to do so. We got about another 2 minutes and we're going to do our summation.
Just Joy, Saturdays, 4 p.m. Electric subjects. Look forward to hearing from you Saturdays at 4 p.m. Just Joyce and friends.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you, Joyce. Love to hear your voice. Love to hear your voice. Anyone else? Any other podcasters?
Good evening.
Showtime? Good evening.
Okay, this is Chandra. Our life lessons, we all have them on Sunday at 3 o'clock.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. All righty. Now, tonight at 8 p.m., we have Brother Ed coming in. And all of those of you who have been on his podcast, you know, it is not a sprint race. This is a marathon. All right? So, take off your track shoes and put on your cross trainers because you're going to need them. All right? 8 p.m. tonight until we have Thine Will Be Done with Brother Ed tonight. All right? Well, you're looking forward to it, but he's going to be here. That's right. Also, don't forget tomorrow, our show lineup is as follows. 7 a.m. Eastern Time, we got the prayer call with Miss Carol Lucille. Yes, indeed. If you get up and you feel so inclined, please join the prayer call, 7 a.m. Good way to start your day. 12 noon, first and third Saturday in the month, we have Actualizer with Your Highness. Remember, that's the first and third Saturdays of the month at 12 noon. 4 p.m., you've heard the lovely lady herself, Just Joyce. She's looking for some more friends. So come on at 4 p.m. Once again, Just Joyce and friends. 6 p.m., we got our CEO, Mr. Forrest Nance, with his signature show, Grown Folk Talking, and his special guest that will be coming up to give you information and resources that you can use. And then this Saturday, 8 p.m., we have the lovely Elle from Long Island. And following Elle at 9 p.m. will be the Sultan of Morocco. Will be with us this coming Saturday right here on the network. And as is customary, we'll focus, my brother. You have the last word and take us out of here.
you, including the girls. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Stay tuned for Brother Ed, everybody. You don't have to go back out. I think he's here.
I'll have to show.
You done, Marcus?
Is that it?
You go in
Is that it?
Marcus. Hello?
Hey.
Yes.
Oh.
Greetings I bring from
I'm hanging up.
Can y'all hear me?
No.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, you're loud and clear.
No.
See?
Quick.
Look at that girl. What is wrong with her? She is
I'm clicking because you're calling.
so sweet and medieval at the same time. Only in America. Hey, Marcus. Marcus, are you still there? Yeah, I want to bring somebody else on. Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to say. LaToya is another deceptive individual. How about that?